Start by explaining how I assess the uterus and the position of the uterus. So let's say that my fist is your pubic bone. The pubic bone is the bone in the front of the pelvis. And so what I do is I put my hand on top of the pubic bone, and then what I should feel when I palpate is that I go into a little valley, up a little hill when I'm checking the uterus. So remember, let's say my body is the uterus. And so the pubic bone is here in the front, and then the bladder hooks on, and then the uterus should be in slight anaflexion, like that, kind of leaning over a little bit. And these are the fallopian tubes, and they're going back to the ovaries like that. And so that's why when I feel the pubic bone, I go into a little valley, up a little hill. The uterus should be in slight anaflexion. If I don't go up the little hill, then she's not. And so now I'm going to touch the bone in the front of the pelvis. You can put your hand there to show me where it is. There you go. So I'll put my hand where yours is.
Okay.
So there's the bone. So I'm feeling puffiness. So what that means to me is, of course, there's a normal amount of puffiness to the mons pubis, which is there on top of the pubic bone, but it's a little bit more than I would anticipate. So that's already telling me that there's some drainage that needs to be happening that's not happening. And so that's something that we'll take care of, but I can feel that already. So we'll see if we can, sometimes if there's too much fluid, then it's hard to fill the organs. So we'll see if we can fill the organs, even if there's a little bit extra fluid around.
Okay.
So there's the pubic bone. And so here's the bladder. So the bladder, I would expect to go up a little higher. The bladder's like right here. I would expect it to be right there, which probably doesn't feel like a big difference, but it's a tiny little bit. So to me, it feels like the bladder's a little bit low, and probably even, people can have a bladder I'm very picky. And so I want things to be kind of like ideal. And so the body's very flexible, very competent. It can be like, I can still make do. I'll do my best. The body's always like that. It doesn't need the ideal. And so I always try to do the ideal because you just feel better.
Yeah.
And so there's the pubic bone, there's the bladder, too low. And then when I go to the uterus, there's no up the little hill. It's all retroverted. And so that's like what I was saying before. When I was feeling, I don't know if you can feel, it's like my hand is being just like really pulled back to the, I mean, it looks like I'm exaggerating, but it actually feels like that to me.
Yeah.
But of course it's not pathological or bad or anything like that. Like, you're like a beautiful woman and everything is like great, right? And so this is just like part of my experience of the organs in the body.
Yeah.
Where the organs are like, oh, that's not my ideal. That's basically what it is.
Got it.
And so the uterus feels midline, feels a little bit inferior, and retroverted. And so remember that slight anaflexion is the normal position. We call it the normal position of the uterus. But of course in biomedicine, their idea is like, hey, any position is totally fine as long as the uterus is not falling out of your body, right? And so we're a little bit more picky than that. And so if a uterus is retroverted, like yours in the midline, it means that she's pulled back like that, just kind of like angled back.
Okay.
All right. And so now we have an idea of what's going on with the uterus.